and I'm here to introduce you to appreciative inquiry, which is a method for change, and also to appreciative coaching, which is the method that I developed with two other people and about which we wrote in our book, Appreciative Coaching. And I'd like to start by telling you a story. The story begins with my being a change agent in large corporations. And it was my job to come in as Ms. Sunshine and announce that we were going to change something. We were going to change the way we form teams, or we were going to change the way we did documentation, or we were going to have a new software platform. And as I would smile and announce this, people would sit there with their arms folded. And they were not interested in change. They'd been through change before. This was just going to be more trouble for them. And I'd been through this over and over again. And when I began to learn about appreciative inquiry and to apply it with these groups, what I asked them was not, how are you going to do this thing that we have to do? What I asked them was, what do you do now that works really well? And I found a completely different response. I had partners in creation, in the creation of change. And so I became a big fan of appreciative inquiry. And that is the basis for the coaching method that we'll talk about. Appreciative inquiry is based on a particular kind of worldview. And I know that you've heard the expression about a glass half full and a glass half empty. Well, many of us come from the glass half empty worldview, and I would say that I am one of those people. And it's based on a scarcity mentality. And the scarcity mentality says there's not enough for me. So I have to fight for it, I have to compete, I have to put you down in some way. And it's also based on what Kathy Kramer calls deficit-based thinking, which means, again, it's negative. It's all about something not being right. There's a lot of judgment and evaluation, and I've certainly been known to evaluate and find fault with other people. That's very much a part of this worldview. It's reliant entirely on what Robert Quinn calls our comfort zone. And our comfort zone is the things that we already know that we do well. So it's a very risk-averse kind of worldview. Contrast that with the worldview that underlies appreciative inquiry. And that's very much a glass half full kind of worldview. It's based on an attitude of gratitude and appreciation, where we are actively looking for the good in other people, for the good in our work, and for the good in our lives. It's characterized by asset-based thinking versus deficit-based thinking. And by curiosity. It helps me when I get into judgment and evaluation to remember to be curious about other people. I wonder why they did whatever it is that they did. It also means that I'm ready for surprise and adventure. And surprise and adventure are I think, words that really entice me towards this glass half full worldview. And lastly, it's characterized by a learning edge, by my own willingness, by a willingness to be in an uncomfortable maybe and a mode where there are new things coming into my life. Now, at the time that we wrote this book and published it, all kinds of new information that neuroscience has given us in the last 3 years was not available. It's interesting that neuroscience supports what we found and what David Cooperrider found in Appreciative Inquiry, that a sense of appreciation and gratitude actually helps us to form and enhance neural pathways that open us up to greater productivity and thus greater performance. The other thing that we've found is that psychology has indicated that a sense of self-acceptance and worthiness as imperfect beings actually helps us to, and is the foundation for close relationships with other people. So this sense of accepting and cherishing ourselves and then accepting and cherishing other people actually helps us form better relationships. And coaching clients often come for one or the other of these reasons. They want to enhance their performance or they want to enhance their relationships. The last contrast I think I'd like to do in this introduction is a contrast between a problem-solving way of going about change and the appreciative way of going about change. The problem-solving way begins with identifying the problem. And in organizations, that's often some system that doesn't work. And after the problem has been identified, then there is a search for root causes. And root causes are often so old and so much a part of the culture that it's really hard to identify them. From identifying root causes, we often brainstorm solutions and decide on realistic options for change, and then decide and implement action plans. Contrast that with a very different way of going about change that starts, as I told you from my story, with what do we do well? What do I do well? What are my strengths and what are your strengths? And it moves from that to identifying a dream or something that we really want our organization to be, or something that we really want our lives to demonstrate. And the next stage in an appreciative change process is to design those steps that we need to take in order to make this dream come true, or to make our goal a reality. And lastly, to kind of live into that goal, to live into that reality, where our dream is actually who and what we are. It's who we are as an organization, perhaps, or who we are as an individual. In the following videos, you'll find that I talk about the 5 principles that underlie both appreciative inquiry and appreciative coaching, and the 4 stages. Thank you for listening.